You've done everything right. You followed the instructions. You did the affirmations. You visualized. You set the intentions. You worked on yourself. You meditated. You did the rituals. You believed. And still nothing shifted, or it shifted for a moment and then collapsed back. And now you're wondering, is there something wrong with me? Why does this work for other people but not for me? What am I missing? Let me tell you something that will either frustrate you or liberate you. You weren't doing it wrong, but you might have been doing the wrong thing. See, there's a difference between faith and frequency. And most of the spiritual work out there is teaching faith when what you actually need is frequency. Faith says, I believe this will happen even though I have no evidence. Frequency says, I am vibrating at the frequency where this already exists. They're not the same thing, and the difference is everything. By the end of this, you won't just understand that intellectually, you'll feel the shift in your body, you'll experience what it feels like to actually be in resonance with what you want, instead of just hoping for it. And that shift is the difference between visualizing something and actually manifesting it. Let me explain what happened when you did those affirmations. When you repeated, I am abundant, I am worthy, I am successful, your conscious mind heard it, and a part of you believed it. But your nervous system, your actual frequency, was still braced around scarcity. You were saying, I am abundant, while your body was clenched around, what if there's not enough? What if I can't afford this? What if I make the wrong choice? You were saying, I am worthy, while underneath you still believed, I have to prove my worth, I have to earn it. You were saying, I am successful, while your nervous system was terrified of visibility, judgment, responsibility. And this created a split. Your conscious mind and your frequency were saying two different things, and the universe, which is responsive, responded to your frequency, not your affirmations. Because frequency is louder than words. Frequency is what you're actually emanating. It's like trying to attract someone while simultaneously avoiding them. You're sending mixed signals, and mixed signals don't manifest. This isn't your fault. You were doing what you were taught, but what you were taught was incomplete. You were taught to change your thoughts. But manifestation doesn't work at the thought level. It works at the frequency level. Your thoughts are like the text overlay on a video. The frequency is the actual video underneath. And the universe is responding to the video, not the text. Let me clarify what I mean by frequency because it's not mystical, even though it sounds mystical. Frequency is the overall vibration, the overall state that your nervous system is emanating. It's the sum total of what am I believing? What am I expecting? What am I braced around? What am I safe in? What am I terrified of? Your frequency is created by your baseline state of nervous system activation. If you're in baseline anxiety, your frequency is, the world is dangerous. People will hurt me. I can't trust. I have to be vigilant. And from that frequency, you attract dangerous people, situations that require vigilance, experiences that confirm your fear. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because that frequency is literally selecting from all possible realities the ones that match it. If you're in baseline peace, your frequency is, the world is trustworthy. People want to help. I can relax. Things work out. And from that frequency, you attract helpful people, synchronicities, opportunities. Not because you're being rewarded, but because that frequency is selecting the version of reality where things are trustworthy. Now here's the thing. The affirmations you were repeating were trying to change your frequency, but they were working at the language level. And language is one level of reality, but it's not the deepest level. The deepest level is, what is your nervous system actually believing? And that's determined by your somatic state, by what your body knows, by what you've trained your nervous system to expect. If you spent 20 years training your nervous system to expect scarcity, and then you spend 10 minutes a day saying, I am abundant, guess what wins? The 20 years of training. So the affirmations weren't wrong, they just weren't deep enough. Now let me make this distinction clear, because it changes everything about how you approach your own transformation. Faith. Faith says, I believe in something I can't see. I believe despite my evidence. I believe even though my experience contradicts it. Faith is powerful. Faith has moved mountains. But faith is mostly an intellectual and emotional practice. You do your affirmations from faith. You visualize from faith. You repeat, I believe this will happen, even though your nervous system is saying, this won't happen. And faith can work, sometimes, for some people, but it's exhausting because you're constantly working against your own frequency. You're like someone trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can do it, but it takes constant effort. The moment you stop pushing, the ball pops back up to the surface. Frequency. Frequency says, my nervous system is actually in a state where this is possible. My body is not braced. My expectations are not against it. I am actually resonant with what I'm calling in. Frequency is not belief. Frequency is a state. It's not something you have to do. It's something you have to be. And when you're in frequency, things flow. You don't have to try. You don't have to force. You don't have to override your nervous system. You're like a magnet that's actually magnetized. You don't have to try to attract metal. The magnetism is doing it. Frequency is when your conscious intention, your embodied experience, your nervous system state, and your actions are all pointing in the same direction. And from that alignment, manifestation happens not because you forced it, but because you became the person who naturally attracts it. Now let me give you the actual tools that shift your frequency. Not your thoughts, your frequency, your nervous system state. Frequency shifter number 1, genuine gratitude. The first one is gratitude, but not the gratitude you've been taught. Not the practice of be grateful for what you have. That's good, but it's not frequency shifting gratitude. Frequency shifting gratitude is when you feel genuine appreciation in your body. When something actually lands and you feel, oh, this is good, this is real, this matters. And that feeling, that cellular recognition of goodness, that shifts your nervous system from scarcity to abundance. Not because you're pretending, but because you're actually sensing the abundance that's already here. The practice is simple. Every day, find 3 things you genuinely appreciate, not things you think you should appreciate, things that actually make you feel good when you think of them. It might be, I genuinely appreciate this coffee, the taste of it, the warmth, the ritual. It might be, I genuinely appreciate this conversation, how they listened, how I felt seen. It might be, I genuinely appreciate my body, that it carries me through the world, that it lets me feel things. When you find something you genuinely appreciate and really feel that appreciation in your body, that's the frequency shift. Frequency shifter number 2, embodied presence. The second one is being in your body, not in your anxious mind, not in your future fears, but actually present in your body right now. Because your future fears are coming from your mind. But your actual body, your actual nervous system, is safe right now, in this moment. When you move your awareness from your anxious mind to your body, to your breath, your heartbeat, your sensations, your aliveness, your nervous system immediately shifts out of threat mode. And from a body that's not in threat mode, you can access a completely different frequency. The practice is simple. 3 times a day, pause and come into your body. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your breath. Feel the aliveness of your physical being. Not to fix anything, just to ground. Just to remind your nervous system, I am safe. I am here. I am alive. Frequency shifter number 3, aligned decision. The third one is making decisions from your actual desire, not from what you think you should want. A lot of people are trying to manifest things they don't actually want. They're trying to manifest what they've been told they should want, what's supposed to make them happy, what would impress people. But the universe is responsive to your actual frequency, your actual desire, your authentic want. And when your conscious intention and your actual desire are misaligned, you create a frequency conflict. So the practice is, get clear on what you actually want, not what sounds good, not what would impress people, what would actually make you come alive. And then make choices from that, even small choices. It might be, what do I actually want to eat right now? And then eat that instead of what you think you should eat. It might be, what do I actually want to do with my time right now? And then do that, It might be, what relationship do I actually want? And then pursue that, instead of what's available or what would look good. When your choices are aligned with your actual desire, your frequency shifts into coherence. And from coherence, the universe responds. Frequency shifter number 4, environment and story. The fourth one is changing your environment and the story you tell yourself. Your environment is constantly sending messages to your nervous system. If your environment says, you're struggling, you're behind, you're not there yet, your nervous system will vibrate at the frequency of struggling. So the practice is, curate your environment to match the frequency you want. It might not be a complete life overhaul. It might be the people you spend time with. Do they elevate your frequency or lower it? The music you listen to, does it create the state you want? The media you consume, does it fuel your vision or your fear? The space you live in, does it feel like the life you want or the life you're trying to escape? The words you use about yourself, do you call yourself a victim or a creator? The story you tell about yourself becomes your frequency. If you tell yourself, I'm struggling but I'm working on it, your frequency is struggling persistence. If you tell yourself, I'm the kind of person who creates what I want, your frequency is capable creator. Same life, different story, completely different frequency. Now I want to be very clear about something. Faith is not bad. Faith is beautiful. But faith alone isn't enough to shift your frequency. Faith is what you use when your actual experience contradicts what you're trying to manifest. But manifestation doesn't happen through faith. Manifestation happens through frequency, through alignment, through your actual state matching what you're calling in. The person who manifests abundance is not the one who has the most faith. The person who manifests abundance is the one whose nervous system genuinely knows, I am resourced, I can have what I want, good things come to me. And that knowing isn't faith. That knowing is frequency. That knowing is a state. So if you've been practicing faith, if you've been trying so hard to believe that what you want will happen, you can let that go. You don't have to try so hard. Instead, you can actually shift your frequency. You can train your nervous system into the state where it already knows, this is possible, this is mine, this is happening. And from that state, manifestation is effortless. Let me give you a complete practice that teaches your nervous system to actually shift into the frequency of what you want. This is a 7-day practice. Do this for 7 days and you'll start to feel the shift. The setup. Identify something you genuinely want. Not something you think you should want, something that actually makes you come alive when you think about it. Day 1 and 2, embodied desire. Spend time feeling into what you want, not thinking about it, feeling. Close your eyes and imagine having it, not as a visualization, as a felt sense. How does your body feel when you imagine having this? What does it feel like? Stay with that feeling. Let your nervous system start learning. This is what I'm tuning into. Day 3 and 4, gratitude for it arriving. Here's the key. Treat it as if it's already happening. Not as pretend, but as it's on its way. I can feel it arriving. And from that place, feel genuine gratitude. Thank the universe. Thank your future self. Thank the intelligence that's organizing this. But only if you can feel it genuinely. Don't fake it. If you can't feel genuine gratitude yet, just wait. The feeling will come. Day 5 and 6, aligned action. Now take one small action from the frequency of having already received it. If you want a loving relationship, you might. Prepare yourself. Get ready. Act like someone who's ready for love. If you want meaningful work, you might do something creative today. Do work that matters. Act like someone who's already doing it. If you want abundance, you might give generously. Give from the knowing that you're resourced. Act like someone who already has it. The action isn't to force the manifestation. The action is to train your nervous system. I am the kind of person who already has this. I am acting as that person. Day 7, integration. Spend a full day in the frequency. Not trying, just being. Being the person who already has what you want. How do they move? How do they think? How do they relate to people? How do they treat their body? Be that, not performatively, authentically, as a practice. By the end of 7 days, something will have shifted. You won't be faking anymore. You'll actually be in the frequency. You'll actually be the vibration of having. When your frequency actually shifts, when your nervous system stops being braced and starts being aligned, things change quickly. First, you stop forcing. You stop trying so hard, because forcing is a frequency of not having. Trying is a frequency of not knowing. And when you shift into not forcing, you access a different kind of action, an action that flows, that feels easy, that feels right. Then, people respond to you differently, not because they changed, but because you're emanating a different frequency. You're not desperate. You're not trying to convince them. You're just present, and people respond to presence. Then, opportunities appear. Not miracles, just regular opportunities that matched your frequency all along. But now you can see them. Now you can access them. Then, things happen faster. Not because you're forcing harder, but because you're in resonance with what you want. And resonance creates acceleration. Now, when you start to shift your frequency, doubt is going to show up. And doubt is the frequency killer. Because doubt is bracing. Doubt is, this might not work. I might not be able to do this. What if I fail? And doubt is legitimate. You have evidence for doubt. You've tried things before that didn't work. But here's what's important. You can acknowledge the doubt without letting it run your frequency. You can say, I notice I'm doubting, and I'm going to trust anyway. Not faith, trust. Not belief, trust in the process. Trust in my own capacity. Each time you catch the doubt and choose to trust anyway, you're rewiring your nervous system. You're teaching it. I am safe to be in frequency. I don't need to be braced. Let me crystallize what frequency actually is. Frequency is the state of consciousness from which you're operating. It's not magic. It's not outside the laws of physics. It's the most basic principle of physics. You attract what matches your frequency. When your nervous system is in genuine peace, you attract peaceful situations. When your nervous system is in genuine abundance, you attract resources. When your nervous system is in genuine worthiness, you attract opportunities to express that. It's not about forcing, it's about aligning. And alignment is simple. Make sure your thoughts, your emotions, your body state, your environment, and your actions are all pointing toward what you want. When they are, you're in frequency. And from frequency, the universe responds. The kingdom within is not something you manifest through faith. The kingdom within is the state of consciousness from which you're already aligned to everything you want. And shifting into that state is available to you right now. Not someday, now. Go practice being in frequency. There comes a moment on every path of awakening when you stop asking whether the universe is listening. Not because you finally received every answer you wanted. Not because every dream suddenly appeared in your hands. But because something much deeper happens. You realize that the person who began this journey is no longer the person standing here now, and that changes everything. For so long, you believed your life depended on what happened outside of you. The next opportunity, the next relationship, the next breakthrough, the next miracle, the next confirmation that you were finally enough. You believed peace would arrive after success. Love would arrive after healing. Abundance would arrive after more effort. Freedom would arrive after one more lesson, one more meditation, one more manifestation technique, one more spiritual practice. But somewhere along the way, something unexpected happened. You stopped looking outward. You started listening inward. And the voice you found there was quieter than you imagined. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It wasn't trying to convince you of anything. It simply whispered, you were never separated from what you were searching for. That whisper changes a person forever, because once you hear it, you can never completely forget it. Even when life becomes difficult again, even when uncertainty returns, even when old fears try to visit your mind, something inside you remembers. It remembers that peace was never a destination. It was a frequency. It remembers that love was never something to earn. It was something to uncover. It remembers that abundance wasn't waiting in the future. It was waiting behind the walls of fear that kept you believing there wasn't enough. This is the hidden truth almost no one talks about. Real transformation doesn't happen the day your circumstances change. It happens the day your identity changes. Because circumstances always follow identity. Never the other way around. For years, you may have asked yourself, what do I need to do? But the greater question has always been, who am I becoming while I do it? Every thought, every choice, every challenge, every disappointment, every unexpected blessing has been shaping your answer. The universe was never only giving you experiences, it was revealing your own consciousness back to you. Every person became a mirror. Every obstacle became a teacher. Every delay became preparation. Every closed door redirected your attention toward one that matched the person you were becoming. Nothing was wasted. Not your pain, not your failures, not your confusion, not even the seasons where you believed nothing was happening, especially those seasons, because roots always grow in darkness before anyone sees the tree. Think about nature. The seed never argues with winter. It doesn't panic because nothing is visible. It doesn't assume growth has stopped simply because the surface looks empty. Beneath the soil, everything is changing. Invisible doesn't mean inactive. Hidden doesn't mean absent. Preparation is often silent. Your life works the same way. Many of your greatest transformations happened before anyone noticed them. Before your family saw the change. Before your friends recognized it. Before opportunities appeared. The real work happened in silence. Inside your thoughts. Inside your heart. Inside your nervous system. Inside the invisible conversations you had with yourself. That is where your future was built. Not on stages, not in applause, not through recognition, but in the quiet moments when nobody was watching. Those moments matter more than you realize, because character is formed in private, frequency is stabilized in private, alignment becomes permanent in private. The world only experiences the overflow. This is why some people appear to change overnight. But overnight success is usually years of invisible alignment finally becoming visible. The fruit appears suddenly. The roots took much longer. Perhaps you've been too hard on yourself. Perhaps you've measured your life by visible results while ignoring invisible growth. Maybe you've criticized yourself because you're not where you hoped you'd be. But have you noticed who you've become? Have you noticed that situations which once destroyed your peace now only pass through your awareness? Have you noticed that conversations which once controlled your emotions no longer carry the same power? Have you noticed that you recover faster? That you forgive easier? That you trust yourself more? That you no longer seek everyone's approval before making decisions? These are not small changes. These are signs that your consciousness has matured. The old version of you survived. The new version creates. The old version reacted. The new version responds. The old version searched for certainty. The new version trusts the unfolding. The old version asked, "What if everything goes wrong?" The new version quietly asks, "What if life is working with me in ways I cannot yet see?" That single question opens entirely different possibilities. Because fear narrows perception, trust expands it. When your nervous system settles into trust, you begin noticing opportunities that anxiety made invisible. The opportunities were always there. Your state determined what you could perceive. This is why awareness is more powerful than effort. A tense mind sees problems. A peaceful mind sees possibilities. The external world may be identical. The observer has changed. That is the miracle. Not that reality suddenly became different, but that your relationship with reality became different. And relationships change everything. Imagine standing beside the ocean. One person sees danger. Another sees beauty. Another sees adventure. Another sees peace. The ocean remained exactly the same. Consciousness created 4 entirely different experiences. Your life works exactly like that. Reality constantly meets the quality of your awareness. So the greatest question is no longer, what am I attracting? The greater question becomes, from what state am I experiencing this moment? Because your experience of life is life, not the events themselves, but the consciousness through which you live them. This understanding frees you from constant struggle. You stop trying to control everything. Instead, you begin mastering yourself. And strangely enough, that is when life becomes easier. Not because difficulties disappear, but because your center remains. Storms no longer decide your identity. Opinions no longer define your worth. Outcomes no longer determine your peace. You have discovered something much more valuable, an inner home. A place within yourself that remains untouched by temporary circumstances. This is what many traditions have pointed toward for thousands of years. The kingdom within, the inner light, pure awareness, presence. Different words, the same reality. A place inside you that has always existed, waiting patiently beneath every layer of fear, waiting beneath every identity, waiting beneath every expectation. It never disappeared. You simply became distracted from it. Now you remember. And remembering changes everything. Because once you remember who you are, you stop begging life for permission to exist. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop shrinking your dreams to make other people comfortable. You stop abandoning yourself in order to be accepted. You begin living honestly. You begin speaking honestly. You begin loving honestly. Not perfectly, honestly. Perfection was never the goal. Presence was. Growth was. Alignment was. Every day offers another opportunity to return. Not return to who you used to be. Return to who you have always been beneath conditioning. Some days that return feels effortless. Other days it requires courage. Both are part of the path. Never believe awakening means never struggling again. Awakening means you no longer confuse the struggle with your identity. You can experience sadness without becoming sadness. You can experience fear without becoming fear. You can experience uncertainty without believing uncertainty defines your future. This distinction changes the entire human experience. Thoughts continue. Emotions continue. Life continues. But awareness remains larger than all of them. And from awareness, choice becomes possible. You no longer react automatically. You choose. You choose peace. You choose truth. You choose compassion. You choose courage. Again and again. These small choices seem ordinary, but repeated over time, they become destiny. Because destiny is rarely one giant decision. It is thousands of quiet decisions made consistently. One conversation, one morning, one breath, one act of forgiveness, one moment of honesty, one step toward what feels true. That is how extraordinary lives are built. Not through dramatic transformation, but through ordinary alignment repeated every day. So as this journey comes to an end, understand something important. This ending is not actually an ending. It is a beginning. The information you've heard means very little if it remains information. Knowledge changes nothing. Embodiment changes everything. The world does not need more people who can explain consciousness. The world needs more people who live from consciousness. People whose presence calms a room. People whose kindness creates safety. People whose integrity inspires trust. People whose authenticity gives others permission to be authentic too. Become one of those people. Not because the world demands it, because your soul remembers it. There are people you have not yet met whose lives will change because you refuse to give up on your own awakening. There are conversations waiting for you, friendships waiting for you, ideas waiting for you, acts of service waiting for you, moments of beauty waiting for you, entire chapters of your life still unwritten. Meet them with an open heart. Meet them with curiosity instead of fear. Meet them as the version of yourself you have been quietly becoming all along. And when doubt inevitably returns, as it sometimes will, don't fight it. Smile gently. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then continue walking anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing alignment while fear watches. One day, perhaps years from now, you'll look back on this season. You'll remember the questions, the uncertainty, the searching, the nights when you wondered whether anything was changing, and you'll smile, because you'll finally see what was invisible. Life was shaping you long before you recognized its design. Every setback strengthened your foundation. Every delay deepened your wisdom. Every challenge expanded your compassion. Every ending prepared you for a greater beginning. Nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Even now, as these final words reach you, your next chapter has already begun. Not because something outside of you has changed, but because you have. The person who constantly chased has become the person who chooses. The person who constantly feared has become the person who trusts. The person who constantly searched has begun remembering. And perhaps that is the greatest manifestation of all. Not attracting a different life, but awakening as a different version of yourself. A version that understands peace is an inside job, that love begins within, that abundance flows from alignment, that purpose is expressed one conscious moment at a time. Carry that understanding with you. Protect it, practice it, live it, because the kingdom within is not a place you eventually arrive. It is a way of being that you choose again every single day. So wherever life takes you next, walk slowly enough to notice beauty. Stand firmly enough to honor your truth. Love deeply enough to transform every room you enter. And trust completely enough to remember this. You were never waiting for the universe to choose you. The universe was patiently waiting for you to choose the fullest expression of yourself. Now the choice is yours. Go forward with an open heart. Go forward with quiet confidence. Go forward knowing that the greatest power you will ever discover has never been somewhere out there. It has always been here, within you, and it always will be.